Legislature, where the minority in parliament is challenging the government's claims of economic recovery, describing recent gains as largely reflective only on paper. This comes in the wake of the 3.8% inflation rate recorded for January 2026. Speaking to journalists, the Member of Parliament for Busome Freho, Nanasa Fuji Aye, contended that the economy performed better during periods when inflation was high. ChannelOne News' Ni Ayikwe Okain reports.
Ghana's inflation fell to 3.8% for January 2026, the lowest since the year 2021 and the 13th consecutive monthly decline. Food and non-food prices eased while regional disparities persisted. That notwithstanding, the minority caucus in Parliament says such gains are only reflective on paper and not on the living conditions of the public.
I won't be even surprised that the inflation will go to zero. I wouldn't be surprised that the inflation will go to zero. They've been so good, they've been so tactical with everything on paper. CD is depreciating on paper, inflation is going down on paper, everything, interest rate on paper. But the reality on the ground is not. They can celebrate inflation rate on paper. But as far as we are concerned, the inflation rate that is hitting our pocket, hitting our daily lives is different. And it is even worse than it was 23. Quite recently, they were beating and flogging some drivers and mates, forcing them to reduce transportation because supposedly fuel is down. But it is not only the cost component of the fares are not only fuel. The spare parts, have you checked the engine prices just now? So expensive than it used to be before. When it was even 23, it was better than now that it is 3. So what is the 3? What are we doing with the 3? What are we doing with the 3? Today, roasted plantain, cocoa, has now been moved to 7 cedis. Just a piece of it. The granite they used to sell with the roasted plantain, which is 1 cedi, is now 2 cedis. And even the sizes have reduced. That is what I take, Kofi Brookman.
Well, as I'm hearing that figure, I'm also getting a lot of messages from people who are saying that what they see on the market doesn't exactly correspond with that. I'm sure when the government statistician appears before us, we'll have an opportunity to interrogate the data that they have and match it to what is really happening in the market. We have told you earlier that what the government is doing to achieve these inflationary targets is not actually tackling the supply side. It's actually sterilizing a lot of money from the system. You recall that around October, we told you that the government has sterilized about 60 billion Ghana cedis from the system. In other words, that money is being sucked out of the economy, so people who want to use it to, conduct transactions can't even access it. So it's one thing they're doing it on the demand side and telling you, therefore, that inflation is down to 3.8. But when you go to the market, you see the real rate.
The inflation that we have experienced this time is reflecting in the lives of Ghanaians. We are all aware that before the NDC took over, a bag of rice, it was ranging around 700 Ghana cedi. Today, go and find out whether it's 700 Ghana cedi. Okay? Where there's a need for us to, as it were, give credit, let's give credit. Okay? Where we think that there's some genuine criticism to be made, let's make it. Once we begin to have that culture in the way we administer this country, we will make some progress. I can tell you that the 3.8% that we are all talking about is reflecting in the lives of Ghanaians, and I'm not the one saying it.
Where the government also laid before Parliament the policy document on the 24-hour economy. Reporting for ChannelOne News from Parliament, Ni Ayikwe Okain.